So my last video was about WandaVision, and that came out about 6 weeks after everybody else's video because I had a lot of technical difficulties with my computer, but it's all squared away now, which is awesome. But the nice part, I guess, about that coming out really late is in this one, my very next video, I get to talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So hell yeah! So in this video, I'm mainly going to be talking about the benefits of Falcon and the Winter Soldier being a TV show rather than a movie, and the pitfalls that it would have had if it was a movie, and why it would not have worked as well in the standard hour and a half to, let's be honest, 3-hour runtime that Marvel movies tend to get. I'm going to talk about why it would have suffered if it was in that, what it possibly could have done to be a good movie or a movie series, and why this format works so well for different storytelling within the MCU that we have not seen before. But briefly, I'm going to give you a synopsis of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So the Falcon and the Winter Soldier picks up not long after what I call the snapping. Marvel is trying to get the blip to catch on, but I think that's pretty dumb. It takes place not long after. Everybody comes back 5 years later, and the world is trying to rebuild. The Falcon, Sam Wilson, is off doing some contract work for the military, helping out in places where maybe they don't have jurisdiction, or helping out in places where his abilities as the Falcon can help them take down bad guys. And the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, is just kind of living his best life, trying to make redemptions, trying to be a better person. He's in a government-issued therapy, which he hates a lot. You get a lot of great scenes out of that, though. And he's just kind of trying to right his past and put the Winter Soldier behind him to be the best man that he can be. So obviously, as everybody knows, in the end of Endgame, Captain America, Steve Rogers, gives his shield to Sam, and he wants him to take over the mantle as the Captain America. But in the very beginning of this, Sam decides that he is not Captain America. The shield is not Captain America. Steve Rogers is Captain America. So he gives the shield to the government to be put in the Smithsonian because he believes it belongs in a museum as an honor and to honor the legacy of Steve Rogers. But shortly after that happens, they see on the news, Bucky and Sam, they see on the news that the government has given the shield to this man, John Walker, and has him become the new Captain America. While all this is going on, there's a group called the Flag Smashers that is taking off and rising to popularity. They are a refugee group, a terrorist group, freedom fighters, whatever you want to call them, whatever they call themselves, whatever their followers call them. They are basically fighting, saying that the world was better when half the population was gone. Not because half the population was gone, but because it brought the world together and it made them work together. It dissolved borders and it made people act like one people. One world, one people, as they're saying.
For we are, after all, simply one world and one people.
And they want to get back to that because they don't believe that governments are doing enough. They're displacing people. They're sending people back to their homes where there's nowhere to live because new people are living in their houses. So this group is taking off, and it is run by this teenager, Carly. So obviously, Sam and Bucky have to team up because, they're heroes, they're Avengers, kind of, whatever's left of Avengers these days, and whatever you want to call Bucky, whatever he wants to call himself, I guess. But they team up to try and take down these Flag Smashers, to stop them from getting a hold of Super Soldier Serum and to stop them from basically taking over the world, but they are everywhere. But hot on their heels, also trying to stop Carly, but in a much different way, is John Walker as Captain America, who wants to work with them, but obviously these two old friends of Cap are not going to work with this Captain America. Now, obviously, as you can tell, this show deals a lot with grief and hardship and struggle and sadness. Much like WandaVision dealt with many different turmoils and many different griefs and many different things that she had to overcome, Marvel is really exploring the difficulties that these heroes and people and the world itself has to overcome after losing so much, after the snap, after people come back after 5 years, things you wouldn't necessarily think about. Sam and Bucky are dealing with the loss of Captain America, one of their closest, if not their closest friend, and they themselves don't really have a bonding moment. When Cap leaves, they don't exactly have something to hold them together anymore because they were never friends, they just had a mutual.
Yes, I'm at the bathroom.
You see the difficulties of veterans coming home. They show that through Sam when he comes back and he's kind of displaced and he doesn't have anywhere to turn. He's out of money and he feels like the government and the world that he fought to save has turned his back on him because there's a subplot of his sister going to lose the family boat, the fishing boat that has kept their family afloat. Boat pun. And he goes to a bank to try and get a loan. And even being one of the people that helped to save the world, he cannot get a loan because they're saying, there's no record of you for 5 years. And he's like, fucking obviously, I didn't exist for 5 years. What do you expect? And although that's on the large scale of saving the world and a superhero, an Avenger being displaced, it's an obvious metaphor. It's an obvious way to look at veterans being displaced when they come home after a war and having nothing and not having the help that they need. Then it shows the struggles of 5 years after the snapping when everybody comes back. And I talked about this briefly. It shows all of these people that come back and new families are living in their homes because nobody thought anybody would come back after 5 years. It shows that borders have to be reestablished and refugees have to be pushed out of the places that they've settled and go back to this country that doesn't have the means or the funds or the food to support them anymore. Also, many times through this show, you see the struggles and the plight of being African American in America and being an African American fighting for America and the difficulties that they have. Now, I'm not going to talk about that much because I'm the last person that has the qualifications to talk about that. I'm sure there are many other videos and articles that can talk about that much better, but I like that they touched on it, but I myself don't feel that my voice needs to be heard on that subject. Now, I bring all of that up in the context of why I think this makes a better TV show than it ever could have a movie, because you could not touch on all of those things in a movie. There would just not be enough time. You might be able to touch on one of those things, have the arc of the movie be about that, or have that be a plot within the movie. But you cannot touch on all of those things over 2 hours or 3 hours. Maybe if you were to do a trilogy, like Iron Man 1 through 3, Captain America 1 through 3, Thor 1 through 3. If you were to do a trilogy, maybe. But it just would not have the same effect this had. They were able to explore so much more that was necessary to the story and all fed into themselves and all fed into each other because this was a TV show. The obvious benefits of it being a TV show over a movie are the extended story arcs, extended character arcs, and being able to watch it in your bed every night, which I did, and it was fucking awesome being able to watch Marvel in your bed every night. The amazing thing about these Disney Plus shows of Marvel is that there does not seem to be any sort of production value dip. There doesn't seem to be any less star power. It's not like Netflix where it's a Marvel show, but you can tell Marvel doesn't really believe in it, and they're not pouring the money and the star power and the energy into it that they do the movies. These are not the same way as those. These feel the same way the MCU does in the theaters, and that's phenomenal. But with the character arcs that are explored in this, you have the big ones like Zemo and Sharon and Bucky and Sam and Carly and John Walker and so many more that I can't think of off the top of my head because my phone died that I have my notes on, so I'm doing a lot of this off the top of my head, but I think I'm doing pretty good. I think it's all right. Zemo, who was the main bad guy in Age of Ultron, who I absolutely love, even as the bad guy. Yes, Baron Zemo was not fully fleshed out and explored in Age of Ultron, but he is still my all-time favorite villain because, as everybody else is, like they said, a wizard, an android, or an alien.
I have a feeling they might be a part of the big three.
What big three?
The big three.
What big three?
Androids, aliens, and wizards.
That's not a thing.
That's definitely a thing.
No, it's not.
Every time we fight one of the three.
So who are you fighting now, Gandalf?
How do you know about Gandalf?
I read The Hobbit in 1937 when it first came out.
Zemo is just some guy. He's just some smart guy that had a lot of time to make a very good plan, and he took down the Avengers. And in this, they take the man in Age of Ultron that took down the Avengers and make him something of an anti-hero, make him the fan favorite. Y'all remember the Zemo dance? It wasn't very long ago. People fucking love Zemo, and for very, very good reason. He is given depth and he's explored properly. And you get to see his reasoning behind why he doesn't think super soldiers exist, but why he's okay with Bucky, because super soldiers tend to decide that they are going to be super soldiers. They're going to be better than everybody else. They're going to be these war machines. but not that War Machine.
Boom, you looking for this?
But he's okay with Bucky because Bucky didn't choose this. He was forced on this. He doesn't want to fight. He just wants to find his peace in life. And then you do have Bucky, the Winter Soldier, who starts out just trying to make amends, but trying to make amends over the people that he's helped to power, not necessarily trying to make amends over the people that he has wronged in this life. And over time, he comes to terms with his past. He finds his happiness. You have an amazing, amazing boat building montage with Sam, where they're just rebuilding a boat down at Sam's old home, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Why didn't you use the metal arm?
Well, I don't always think of it immediately. I'm right-handed.
I really, really hope that at some point Bucky gets together with Sam's sister. That would be hilarious. But then you have Sam's arc to where in the beginning of this, he doesn't think he's worthy of Captain America. He does not think that he should pick up the shield. He is the Falcon. He is not Captain America. And over time, he has to realize that he is worthy of the shield. He is a good man. Cap would be happy with him taking up the mantle, fucking obviously, because he's the one that gave him the shield. But in the end, in the last episode, he literally calls himself Captain America, and multiple people call him Captain America. And to touch back on Bucky, in the last episode, he is referred to as Sergeant Barnes. And that is a touching moment. He is not the Winter Soldier. He's being recognized for his esteem and the fact that he might even be able to be considered an Avenger, whether he likes it or not. And then you have Sharon, who, in the most obvious twist ever, who is Twist, the power broker that they've been teasing this whole show. I saw it coming from a mile away. I'm normally not good at seeing twists, because as I've said, I've never picked up a comic book in my life. I enjoy not seeing twists. I enjoy being left in the dark. But I saw this come from a mile away. It wouldn't have made much sense if she wasn't the power broker in this. But seeing her progression from who she was when she was introduced all the way back in, I believe it was Civil War, to who she is now. It was the least fleshed out arc in this whole show, but it was still more fleshed out than it could have been in a movie. And my absolute favorite arc in this whole show is John Walker as the new Captain America, who gets his shield stripped from him and then at the very end becomes U.S. agent for who I believe is Madam Hydra. And again, I only know that from speculations I've heard from other people. The downfall and then kind of rise again of John Walker is wonderful. He comes in as this decorated war hero with his sidekick Lamar as Battlestar, and he just wants to make a difference. He just wants to take up the mantle of Captain America properly. But this pressure gets to his head, the stress gets to him, and he can't handle it. And he snaps. And I kind of give him a break for his snap. Obviously, in his snap, I think he cut a guy in half. Like, they didn't exactly show a man cut in half, but I think he cut that fucking dude in half with the Captain America shield.
It wasn't me! It wasn't me!
But I kind of give him a break, because if somebody murdered my best friend and in a fit of rage, I might cut a man in half too if I had a Captain America shield and I had the strength of 18 fucking elephants running through my goddamn veins. But he just could not handle being Captain America. It was too much stress to him. It's too much stress to have the world on his shoulders and everybody look to him. And you can't fault a guy for that too much. He did get consumed by vengeance and rage for wanting to, take out the people that killed his best friend in the whole world that he served tours with in the military. But in the end, he came back and he made the right choice, which Lamar has said, in the heat of battle, you always make the right choice. And when it came to chasing down Carly or saving an armored car full of people, he saved the people. And then he helped chase down the people with the Winter Soldier, with Bucky. I'd like if he was actually referred to as White Wolf now. Like in the end, when it said Captain America and the Winter Soldier, I'd like if it said like Captain America and White Wolf, or Captain America and Sergeant Barnes. But either way, John Walker had his bit of redemption. And I believe as U.S. Agent, I don't know anything about U.S. Agent, but I believe he's a bit of an anti-hero or a troubled hero, because I don't see him as the same anti-hero type as Zemo doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. I think that he just will go in there and he'll do the right thing for the right reasons, but go to levels that most heroes wouldn't. Maybe shoot some fuckers in the face when Captain America, Sam now, he deserves that title. Maybe when Captain America's like, no, we gotta save them, and he's like, fuck this, and just shoots them in the face. I think it'll be interesting to explore. But, again, after that big long monologue I had, My point of all of that is that you cannot flesh out that many arcs for that many characters and that many stories in a movie. Maybe a trilogy, but I don't think a trilogy would work because this show needs to be watched one after another. Each episode feeds into itself perfectly. I would say watching this in one sit down is better than watching it week to week as it was released. So I think that a year wait in between 3 movies would split it up too much. A TV show is necessary for this. A movie would have probably been bad. I'm not saying like Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Transformers 2 or, any other shit movie you can think of off the top of your head. Sharknado 2? Actually, kind of like Sharknado 2. But you get my fucking point. It would not have been as good as a movie. So I'm super happy they did it in a TV show. And I'm super excited for the next 10 TV shows they have planned for Phase 4. But thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos.